Welcome to our lesson on different types of organizations and their purposes. This is an important part of understanding the business context for your T-level in digital production, design and development. This is the first in a series of videos to help you to get the most out of your course. Organizations come in many shapes and sizes, but broadly speaking, we can categorize them into two main types: those that provide services and those that provide products. Let's break this down further. First, let's look at service organizations. These are businesses that primarily offer intangible goods, things you can't touch or hold. Examples include healthcare providers, educational institutions, hospitality businesses like hotels and restaurants, and professional services like lawyers or accountants. Services have some unique characteristics. They're intangible, meaning you can't physically touch them. They're often inseparable from the provider. Think of a haircut, for instance. They're perishable, meaning they can't be stored for later use, and they can be variable, as the quality might depend on who's providing the service and when. Now, let's talk about products. Products are tangible items that businesses create and sell to their customers. Unlike services, you can physically touch and hold a product. Think about the smartphone in your pocket, the car you drive, or the book on your shelf. These are all products. They're physical goods that have been manufactured and can be stored until they're sold. One key characteristic of products is that they can be owned. When you buy a product, you take possession of it. You can use it, store it, and in many cases, resell it if you don't want it anymore. Product sectors might include manufacturing, agriculture, and retail. Product-based organizations often have complex supply chains and manufacturing processes. They need to manage raw materials, production schedules, and inventory in ways that service organizations typically don't. Understanding the nature of products is a key concept everyone needs to know, even if you're primarily working with software or services. Many digital products, like hardware components or smart devices, fall into this category. The purpose of organizations, whether they provide services or products, is to meet the needs and wants of their customers or users. They aim to fulfill a demand in the market. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. Can you think of an organization that provides both products and services? Describe one product and one service they offer. You might have thought of a company like Apple, which produces physical products like iPhones, but also provides services like Apple Music or iCloud storage. Or perhaps you considered a supermarket that sells groceries, but also offers delivery services. Keep thinking about these dual-purpose organizations as we move on. Now that we've discussed products and services, let's look at how businesses are categorized into different sectors of the economy. There are 4 main categories we'll explore: primary, secondary, tertiary, and public sectors. Let's start with the primary sector. This sector involves the extraction or production of raw materials directly from the earth. It includes activities like farming, mining, fishing, and forestry. For example, a copper mining company or a wheat farm would be part of this sector. These businesses are often the first step in a longer production chain, providing the basic materials used by other sectors. While this sector was once the largest in many economies, it typically employs a smaller percentage of the workforce in developed countries today. Next, we have the secondary sector. This sector takes the raw materials from the primary sector and transforms them into finished products. Manufacturing industries fall into this category, as does construction and industrial production. For instance, a car manufacturer taking steel, rubber, and other raw materials to produce vehicles would be part of the secondary sector. This sector adds value to raw materials through processing and production. In many developing countries, growth in the secondary sector is seen as a key indicator of economic progress. The tertiary sector is where we find most service industries. This sector doesn't produce tangible goods, but instead provides services to businesses and consumers. It includes a wide range of activities such as retail, healthcare, education, financial services, transportation, and entertainment. For example, a bank providing financial services or a school offering education would be part of this sector. Often referred to as the service sector, this is the largest sector in many developed economies, sometimes accounting for over 70% of GDP in countries like the United States and the UK. Finally, we have the public sector. This category includes services and enterprises that are owned and operated by the government. It encompasses local and national government services, including public education, healthcare systems like the NHS, defense, public transportation, and emergency services. These organizations are typically not profit-driven, but aim to provide essential services for citizens. The size of the public sector can vary significantly between countries, reflecting different political and economic philosophies. For instance, some nations have publicly owned utilities or transportation systems, while in others, these might be part of the private sector. Understanding these sectors is crucial because each has its own characteristics, challenges, and ways of operating. They also interact with and depend on each other in complex ways. As digital professionals, you might find yourselves working across all these sectors, adapting your skills to meet their unique needs. You might develop inventory management systems for a primary sector business, design automated manufacturing processes in the secondary sector, create customer relationship management tools for tertiary sector companies, or build citizen-facing applications for public sector organizations. Now that we've covered the four main business sectors, I'd like you to consider this. How might a digital professional's role differ when working in the public sector compared to the private sector? Take a moment to think about this. You might have considered factors like funding sources, profit motivation, or the types of services provided. A digital professional in the public sector might focus more on accessibility and serving a wide range of citizens, while in the private sector, there might be more emphasis on competitive advantage and profit margins. We'll explore these differences more as we continue our course. Now that we've covered the different types of organizations and business sectors, let's apply what we've learned to a real-world scenario. This will help you understand how these concepts relate to actual business challenges. Here's the scenario. You've been hired as a digital consultant by a large retail chain that operates both physical stores and an online platform. The company sells a wide range of products, including clothing, electronics, and home goods. Recently, the company has been facing challenges in managing its inventory across different channels. There have been instances of products being out of stock in stores while being available online, leading to customer dissatisfaction. The company also struggles to forecast demand accurately, especially during seasonal sales periods. As part of your role, you need to analyze the current situation, propose digital solutions to improve inventory management, and ensure a seamless customer experience across all platforms. Let's consider two questions based on this scenario that will help you apply what we've learned today. First, let's think about the key differences between service and product organizations in the context of retail trade. How would you explain these differences, providing specific examples related to the retail industry? Take a moment to consider this. Remember, while retail primarily deals with products, there are also service elements involved. Now for our second question. How would the characteristics of product organizations, such as tangibility and storageability, impact inventory management strategies in a retail company? Use the scenario we just discussed to illustrate your answer. Think about how the physical nature of products affects how they're managed, stored, and distributed across both physical and online platforms. These questions allow you to apply the concepts we've discussed to a real-world situation. They highlight how understanding different types of organizations and their characteristics is important in addressing business challenges. Now let's discuss how you might approach answering these questions. We'll look at what makes a response high quality versus low quality. For the first question about differences between service and product organizations in retail, a low-quality answer might look like this. This answer is basic and lacks detail. It doesn't show a deep understanding of the concepts or provide diverse examples. Now, let's look at what a high-quality answer might include. First, you'd want to start with clear definitions of both service and product organizations. For example, you might say that product organizations create and sell tangible goods, while service organizations offer intangible activities or benefits to customers. You'd provide multiple relevant examples from the retail industry. For tangible products, you might mention clothing items or electronics that the retail chain sells. These are physical goods that can be stocked, displayed, and purchased. You'd go into more detail about the characteristics that distinguish these types of organizations. For instance, you'd explain that services are intangible, meaning they can't be touched or held and often can't be separated from their provider. Products, on the other hand, are tangible and can be stored or inventoried. For intangible services, you could discuss elements like customer support, which might include helping customers find items or handling returns. You could also mention services like warranties on electronics or personal shopping assistance. These are all intangible benefits that add value to the customer's experience, but aren't physical products themselves. By including these elements, you demonstrate understanding of the concepts and their application in the retail context. Remember, it's not just about listing facts, but showing how these ideas connect and apply in real-world scenarios. Here is an example of a low-quality answer for the second question. This answer shows only a surface-level understanding and doesn't really engage with the scenario. Now, let's explore what a high-quality answer to our second question might look like. You'd want to start with a detailed explanation of how tangibility and storageability affect inventory strategies. Next, you'd want to discuss some of the challenges this creates. Finally, you'd want to make specific references to our scenario. By addressing all these points, you show not only that you understand the concepts, but that you can apply them to real-world situations. You're demonstrating your ability to analyze a business problem through the lens of what you've learned about product organizations and inventory management. In our next video, we'll begin to look at the key areas within organizations and how IT supports them. This will give you a deeper understanding of how digital skills are applied across these various departments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.